All right, we're back with another episode of The Unknowns. Would you like to introduce yourself?
OnlyOneOnlySon from North London. I'm a poet, artist.
Talk me through why you chose this path instead of the grime, the drill, and whatever else.
I've just never been a grime head or a drill head. I mean, to be honest, I got more into grime after discovering hip hop and being in hip hop for a bit and wanting to diversify and go out into other genres. I've always been a hip hop head. My mum used to have like the greatest rap album on an iPod, and we used to play it in the car every time we go everywhere. And it had like Gangsta's Paradise. I got Five on it, like classics. You know what I mean? Regulate. You know what I mean? I could go on. But you know, it's those sort of tunes that I was listening to as like a little child, you know, and knowing all the words and loving it. And so I think who really inspired me to do it was actually Dr. Dre. Beat wise as well as rap, I just thought he brought a real representation of what it was to be famous, to be making real money in the music scene and getting fucked over pretty hard, you know. So I guess he was the inspiration to actually get to start writing and start doing my own stuff. So I started writing. I remember I had a bike accident when I was about like 14. And I like broke my back and my skull, and took me like 6 months to recover from it. And in those 6 months, that's where the writing started taking off properly. Like in those 6 months, just stuck at home, just sort of, you know, just writing stuff and listening to stuff. And then I just started, you know, doing it to my friends and stuff, and they said, you know, this is good. You should put this stuff out and stuff. So I started, and then I found a charity in Portsmouth run by Matt or Blessed, called Music Fusion, and they gave me an amazing array of equipment and time, even just time to you know, to hone in on my craft, and that was where I first started doing all of that sort of stuff.
So, is that what got you into the music? The fact that you know you can get yourself to a place where you can have so much money, so much wealth, so much, you know, or was it like the actual music that actually gravitated to first and foremost?
I'd like to, you know, I think of myself as the complete antithesis of anything material at the moment, but you know, maybe back then, maybe that's what got me interested in it in the first place. Well, to be honest, because my dad's a musician and my mum has always loved writing little poems and writing and words. My mum just loves words, the English language, she loves it. So it almost seems natural that I would have gone into rap. But before rap, I used to write short stories and just writing. I always loved writing. Big love for art and writing. So.
At what age did you start?
7, 8. My mum tells me stories that she used to be in the shop or something, and everyone's, you know, living day to day, having a shit day, and I'd just start freestyling for people, you know, like, it might have been shit, but it was just to make people happy. I always thought that music was a way of making people happy, and maybe not being so happy in myself, I could make other people happy, and in turn that made me happy, if you get what I mean. I've always been sort of I'm an only child, which is where I get the only one, only son, only one, only son, the only one, only child. Also, one is my, astrologically, it's one of my numbers that's good. It's like one, and I'm born in the sun. So there's split meanings there as well. Anyway, I'd always thought I was quite cut off being an only child, and it was only really being like 9 years old where I really started to socialise with like bigger groups of people and have like a larger friend group. Up to then, I'd only had like one or two friends at once, and the music was another way. I think for me, it's a way of communicating. I don't always say what I mean in the moment sometimes, but when I can write it down and I can have like an ordered, okay, I'm writing this and then I wrote that, and then add it all together and then perform it as one massive piece, I almost feel like that is a more accurate representation of me than in real life. Because yeah, it's funny. I just doing it for fun at the beginning, but now it's almost like me. You know, I almost feel like the artist is more me than I am, because everything's so intertwined and I'm writing so personal. I want people to get what I'm saying, you know, actually like envision what I'm saying, whether that's, you know, metaphorically or literally, you know.
Your confidence, like, is I don't want to use the word overwhelming, because to me it isn't overwhelming. That's the kind of confidence you need to get somewhere. But a lot of people don't understand that, and they take it as delusion. And you know, it's almost like you got stalker personality going on.
Yeah, for sure. I think it is. You are almost delusional until you're not delusional, until everyone else believes it as well as you believe it. So I've had people, you know, saying, "Oh, you can't post up on your story all the time." Like I remember once, I was on a manic episode and I posted up like 70 things in one day, and someone was like, "That's just too much," and I'm like, "Yeah, but for the 15 people that actually did make it to the end, what they've got over there is actually it's my story. That is my story from beginning when I woke up to when I went to sleep. 70 or 7 things on it. That's more to do with me, not and I'm not." In a way, not thinking about the people listening, I just doing what feels right in my heart, what feels good, like, and almost like it's almost like freestyle thought. I had this like sort of thing come to me where I was like some of the stuff you're saying is really accurate. Some of it is just bullshit, but for the stuff that's really accurate, there's something to be learned. I want people to learn. I want to teach people stuff, or not teach. If I don't know. My audience is probably anywhere from my age, but probably older, because they're just more mature. I'm making mature raps. I'm not making childish. And if it's childish, there's a reason for it being childish. It's got meaning. Everything has meaning. If it's just for me, fine. If you don't find the meaning in it, that's your loss, I suppose. But about the confidence as well. I've never, literally my entire life, up to about a year ago, never had as much confidence as I have now. Even now, I'm not in manic mode. In manic mode, it's almost too much, because I've got this like up here sort of version of myself where really I'm normally down here, even maybe a bit sadder than happy, So in manic mode, I was just pushing it all the time. And now I've started in manic mode doing a tune a day. I'm just going to keep doing it when I feel like it. If I could get 1 release a week, that'd be great, because I'm at uni as well, doing rap and MC course at uni, ACM. And they're teaching us all of this sort of stuff, and we get to use top tier equipment with top tier engineers every week, every day of every week, if you wanted it. If you want to take that, and which I do, I try and take as much out of it as I can, because it's free. I know how much it costs to record in nice places.
Where does your confidence come from?
Inside, it comes from, possibly it's just people telling me I'm great. Maybe that's it. And that sounds so egotistical, but it's not. I had no confidence, and through people telling me that I could do it as a rap, through people who have been in the industry, my greats, like J-Man the other day saying that, he thought my raps were great. That is an incredible ego. We were talking about this on the train, actually. I would rather J-Man telling me that I'm awesome than 500,000 Muppets telling me that I'm awesome. Do you know what I mean? The numbers, 500,000 followers, if I will still be posting up the exact amount that I would be if I had 500,000 followers. It doesn't make any difference to me that there's only 800 people listening. It's content. I wake up in the morning now, and the first thing I do is go on Instagram and make some content for the day and decide, am I going to post that tomorrow? Would it be better that I did it today? Like, I'm just I'm doing it. I'm trying it out. If it doesn't work out, life's a journey, and so's the music. The music's a journey. I don't expect to make it in the next even 10 years. If I do, incredible. But if I don't, cool. Because it's art. I'm making art. And what about Van Gogh? He wasn't appreciated until after he was dead. Well after he was dead. In his whole life, no one even took him seriously. But now we consider him one of the greatest painters in the world. So, am I going to be the one to make it? Or maybe am I going to be the one to inspire the best artist in the world? Especially what I'm trying to work on now is not letting that build into ego, where I'm thinking that I'm better than someone else, because I might be the best rapper I'm not saying I am, by the way, I might think of myself as the best rapper in the world, but at the end of the day, that doesn't mean you're better than anyone else. We're all just trying to make it in life, and that's what I try to push in the music as well. Is this oneness? We are all one. We are human beings. We inhabit this earth together. I don't think of myself as one of these kids that needs mentoring. I'm doing it at uni. I'm getting mentored by good people in the industry who have links in the industry, and You know, I know a lot of people twice my age doing music and haven't done it professionally, haven't, you know, done a course or done this or even know anyone in the industry. Even people on my course actually have never performed outside of their bedrooms. I don't know, I'm just trying to do it properly, man. I think there's a lot, being humble's cool. There's no humble here because I've only got 800 people listening, you know. If I had a million people listening, I'd hope that I would still be the same sort of person I am now, you know.
You have a certain energy, which is kind of nuts. Like, I could get a message from you at 6 o'clock in the evening with a verse, and at 7:20 you've got another one. At 7:23 you've got another one. At 8 o'clock you've got another one. At 8:02 you've got another one.
I need to work out a schedule, definitely, but I also think that, you know, when I send it to you, you don't have to answer. I don't expect anyone. I don't expect feedback. I'm just trying to push it. It's like being on a mailing list. If you subscribe to me, you're going to get shitloads of stuff from me. Because I'm sorry that I'm too much for you. You know, I'm sorry that putting a tune out a day is too much, but that's what I'm on. You know what I mean? I'm trying to get the discography looking mad right now. You know, like, and also I put a lot of stuff up on SoundCloud because I'm just looking for like feedback, and like I say, look, it's not fully mastered. You know, I just wanted it out because I'm a lyricist. You know what I mean? Like the master, the mix, that's something I pay someone else to do, or you know, I go out and get someone else to do it because I don't know about that. And maybe I should, but at the moment, I'm just focusing on being the best lyric writer and, you know, human
that's
being
the reason why
that I can. Yeah, totally. Yeah, for sure. Well, I go to uni during the week, and then I usually work Saturday, Sunday at a bar in Southampton, Little Canton. Come on. And then I do music in between them. But, you know, for some people, I think music, it can be very, to make it, I mean, it can be like a laborious task. But to me, it's like as easy as breathing, you know, like it just comes naturally, you know. People spend so much time thinking about the perfect lyrics to put in this perfect. No, I don't do that. I literally sit there, put the beat on, write a bit, and then it just comes. It just, like, each line keeps making itself, you know. I used to write my lyrics with Rhyme Zone. I used to use Rhyme Zone for the rhymes. Now it's like, I don't have to. The rhyme zone's up here, you know, like I know the words that I want to rhyme. And if I don't know the words, then maybe I'll go out and look up the word. Oh, that sounds really good. But generally, it's like a free flow. It's like everything's sort of flowing through me and I'm just putting it into the page, you know. I like that. I like how raw it is and how there might be mistakes. It might not even make sense, but people like it. So, you know, what can I say? You know, and if they don't,
earlier you mentioned you just wanted people to know your story.
Yeah, for sure.
So, what is your story?
I'm just a normal middle-class kid, man. I mean, like I said, my dad's a musician, but he's been very void in my life. And I also, when I'm writing, I almost feel like I'm talking to myself. These are like some things that maybe if I forget, or, you know, like writing in a diary, it is like writing the songs. It's like I'm writing in a diary to myself, like, you know, keep doing this. This is you. This is what you do. You know what I mean? Maybe sorry, a total separate point, but I think I have like mental health as well that's undiagnosed. I'm trying to work on getting that diagnosed. But I've always felt like I've been giving myself therapy this entire time and I didn't even know. You know, I was writing stuff down, making songs, and that has been so therapeutic to me, you know. Music therapy is a massive thing, isn't it now? It's getting bigger anyway.
I'm listening to you guys talking, and I'm seeing all these other people that basically are celebrities. And quite a lot of them, to me, don't have half the personality of some of you guys.
Last year I wrote an essay on like how grassroots venues are failing. And it sort of links into that because it's like with these big arenas, you would never have half of the artists that you do have in these selling out arena shows if you didn't have the grassroots venues giving those opportunities to them in the first place. It's like you can't have all of these famous rappers at the top of their game without there being a natural progression up to that. And I feel we've lost that now. I feel like people can go from nothing to right here, but then they're gone again. You know, you don't hear about them again. They're gone. They've made their money and fucking gone, mate. You know, that's not... I know I'm probably speak for everyone here, you know, that's not the game we're running here, you know, we're here for the music, for the art, for the artistry, we love it all, you know, we're here for it all. Take the rough with the smooth, I suppose. But, you know, maybe we can build this platform up to be the best one in the country, man, for UK hip hop. I believe it. Why not? You know, you want to go out, you want to spend all this money on some records to sell, but how many people are actually buying that? And also just, all right, so I wrote another essay on like Spotify and how it's ripping off artists. If you're not in the big three and you haven't got a record deal, Spotify don't pay as much, not even 50% as much. And also you'd need 1 million streams a month to make minimum wage, and that's just on one song, which is quite bad, you know. But also, you would argue, what Spotify argues is that it gives this platform, anyone can put up music on Spotify, which is true, anyone can. But obviously you've got to go through DistroKid or TuneCore, or unless you've got a record label, you know, and that just becomes, again, more, you know, you can't just, it's not as simple as it once was, you know, and to sell, to buy even, you know, and I feel like the market's split. You've got a lot of people who are still buying physical copies. In fact, that's the only thing they buy, are the physical copies. And then you've got people probably more my age who just, you know, go on. I even see them, you know, you've literally got to tell people to click here, click there. People don't do that naturally. They're just scrolling. They don't really care, you know. And as a result, music has lost its value, you know. And also, listen to what I say and ignore it, because at the end of the day means absolutely nothing. I'm just some, you know, teenage guy talking about making music. Who am I? No one. But, you know, if I had 20 million subs, suddenly you'd be listening to me, wouldn't you? You know, the numbers game, it's bullshit. Don't play it. It's bullshit.
Have you got any projects you want anyone to know about? Is there anything that you're working on? Is there anybody you would like to work with? I know you were talking about potentially working with Charlie Smith. So is that going to happen?
Yeah, for sure. I love Charlie. I think he's great and had great conversation. He seems like a nice guy, do you know what I mean? But yeah, I'd love to work. And, you know, he's right around the corner. You know, anywhere in London or within London area is around the corner. You know, I've lived in the country for quite a while, say the country. I lived in Winchester for about 10 years. And I've just recently moved back to London. So it's great to have some people locally or even, you know, within 20 miles that can, you know, do stuff.
What is the importance of a platform like what we're doing to you?
I think personally, and why I watched your channel originally before I even knew the connection we had, it's just raw. It's much more real than all of these. All right, even like a Daily Duppy or something, right? I'm not even sure they do that. That's all pre-recorded, mate. You know, like they haven't even done that live. Like he's performing in it. I see a lot with big art. Well, I'm not going to generalize, but I see a lot, even at open mics, I see people who they've got the performance aspect, but they haven't even got they can't even perform live, you know. They're just mouthing it and people are paying fucking money for that, you know. To me it seems wrong, whereas on here on this channel it's so much more personable. And obviously, you know, most people on here haven't got that much of a following. I think the first one that I watched on your channel was Chester P ages ago. Chester P, obviously massive fan. Also, at a show, I got a co-sign from Skinny Man once in Winchester. That was pretty cool. He liked it. You know, this is what I mean. I think the people that follow you are possibly more in the industry, or they've got people, they know people in the industry. So in that way, they're more switched on. They want to listen to what I've got to say, maybe, or, you know, what Charlie's got to say, what any of us have got to say, because we're the only people that are here now doing what we're doing now. You know, give it 10 years, you know, our views will probably completely change when we've been in the industry a bit more, you know. So it's like you're getting the raw before we've become fucking industry whores, yeah, you know. Or, you know, I doubt that would only happen to anyone on this channel, but, you know, seriously, it's just raw, man. I like raw thought. It's cool. I'm not sure. I'm probably not the best person to ask as representing of the young people. You know, people have always told me I'm an old soul. I listen to mostly 80s and 90s music. I don't really get on with people my age, to be honest. Like, you got to be at least a couple years older than me. You know, I just feel people my age are. I don't know, maybe it's the music I listen to as well, you know, listening to 80s and 90s music, you know, no, I don't know.
Do you not feel that someone like you could be in a position to show other youngsters that, yo, this is the way to go? Not necessarily with your behavior, but with the choice of music.
Yeah.
Like, explain to them as to why is some of the music that we get presented by the music industry is negative?
The youngers need to know that, you know, it might look all dazzling, this you know, 50 million record deal and doing shows around the world and it might look all flash, but are they happy? Are they as happy as someone who's selling 50 records, but he gets to pick when he goes to shows, where he does it, and, you know, he can sort of, you know, I do wonder, you know, because I think, not everyone, but most people, their lifelong journey is happiness, right? And if you think you're going to get happiness with signing a record deal and signing your life away, I doubt it. I think, for me anyway, I'm already living my dreams because I'm making music that I like and showing it to people and they're liking it. To me, that's I've made it. Do you know what I mean? And maybe I sound like an idiot, which is cool. And you can think what you think. That's cool. To have 1 million people like look up to you, that would scare me, you know, because I already, my ethos already is that, you know, you've got a responsibility when you spit on the mic. Like, you can't be representing anything other than, I feel like I'm already talking to the younger generation. I'm already telling you that the way we're acting is fucked.
So, any final words?
Be true to yourself, love yourself, you know, maybe stream my music, OnlyOneOnlySon on all platforms, OnlyOneOnlySon on Instagram, OnlyOneOnlySon on Facebook. I've been Camlo.